We will start the second part of this lecture by looking to the potential tools the unions have to uh, bargain with their employers. And the main tool actually the unions use has been strikes. Um, Although the strikes were used in different ways, as we will see now, and forms. Well, the most common strike is basically the most common type of strike is basically not doing work. Although there can be also certain type of strikes where you slow down the work you do, as well as refusing to do certain types of work. And I will clarify this in a minute. Um, well, the typical strike people understand. Usually when you talk on a strike is the workers when they don't like the working conditions they have in a particular company, they stop working. They don't work anymore. Um, and those workers are usually also protected by the law, which means, I mean, they cannot be easily fired. Uh, they can not be replaced, basically. Not always, basically, not in all countries, but in some cases they are protected. Their right to strike is protected, and sometimes also there are certain mediators that are actually at the time of strike, at the time of disagreement, those mediators can come together and basically uh, force union and the employer to make an agreement. Um, Strikes can also be done, for example, a fast food workers strike. There is no company called fast food company. I mean, there are many fast food companies. In that case, I mean, many workers working for different fast food organizations have gone to strike. And that's one case, actually, the whole sector is actually going to a strike. Not one company, one union case is that in that case. Um, and it might also be possible that the workers might go to strike to protest the well to protest the working conditions of their peers in a different country. And in 19th century there were such strikes, for example, and there is a strike, and the workers who are making the strike are actually staying in the workplace and prevent the workplace to work. And police force is sent to that workplace. The workers in other facilities also start to go strike, and now whole city might basically stop working. Those type of sympathy strikes happen. But another way workers sometimes can go in solidarity with other workers is just uh, not doing work related to the company to which the other workers are striking. For example, um, if Walmart workers are on strike, if I'm in at a transportation company, I might refuse carrying the Walmart packages whenever in my depot, I mean storage facility, there are Walmart packages. I might push them back and carry other packages basically. As much as possible, I delay Walmart packages. Um, So these are the different types of strike that existed at the time of union history. And note that also unions were in many cases also uh, illegal. So those illegal unions had, or at least striking was illegal, if not unions. And those illegal unions had developed the tools. The tools were also illegal, of course. If unions are legal, the tools cannot be legal. Um, but uh, well, U.S. has been a model of this. In the U.S., uh, well, as the union, the dominant union of the country, AFL, which unites later a different union, let's say, body called CIO and become AFL-CIO. But initially they were different organizations, but AFL was the more dominant one. They claimed we like capitalism, we are not against capitalism, we just want our working conditions within capitalism to be improved. So they have it at the very beginning stated actually they just want improvement of working conditions within capitalist system. And that itself has, especially starting with the 20th century, lead to USA to create a legal path for unions. And US had progressively legalized different type of union activities, and basically, especially organization and collective organization has been legalized. A specific type of striking for the working conditions in your own company has been legalized. Sympathy strikes remained illegal. But now, previously all strikes were illegal, but now a particular type of strike has become legal, which means actually mostly companies will do that type of strike, but no other type of strike. No sympathy strikes, especially. And there's a special type of committee formed, National Labor Relations Board. Whenever there is a disagreement between employers and workers, that board serves as a mediator. So it was an important point in the labor economics history. And later, the relations between labor and employers within the economic system has also been, US has formed its own solution to that, the problems that experience between the relation of workers and employers, to solve similar problems in other countries. And a special body within the United Nations has formed, which was called International Labour Organization, which again advises the countries in using methods to solve labor-employer problems. You might check ILO. It has also very nice data, by the way, on the labor relations and labor indicators, variables related to labor. It's a very, very good website. Although its effectiveness can be questioned in these days, of course. Well, the effectiveness can be questioned because in 1970s, this framework that was built in has been finalized in 1945, started to be questioned. Well, one point is unions were usually bringing together the traditional workers, and they were criticized by being male-dominant institutions, especially white males were more, or you might say, European workers with European ancestry, because not all white males are. The body color itself doesn't mean you are white. You might be as white as Europeans, but still be counted as Latino, not white ethnically. So maybe it's better to say male workers with European ancestry. So white is not a good term in that sense. The workers on the fringes are not always taken into account. That was one of the critics brought to the union movement. That critique was shared by the left also, and that grain of truth in it certainly. Well, the other argument is by fixing the wage, and the unions are accused by preventing workers with higher productivity to get relatively higher wages. Unions don't need to fix the wage actually, and not fixing the wage doesn't mean that wages are differentiated, especially for the unskilled workers. And for the skilled workers, I mean, a um, certain type of um, wage scale can be created. But uh, whenever actually there is a competition between unskilled workers is promoted, interestingly, workers mostly reject it. Why it is so is a big question we should ask ourselves. But the critique itself said, I mean, you actually there are more productive workers which without union bargaining process could get higher wages, and basically they are not able to get that wages. And that claim nowadays can be tested in United States in states and professions where unions are more common, and states and professions where unions are less common. Especially for unskilled workers, that test might be interesting. Um, well, last it is argued, of course, the unions are create unemployment, especially for the and there's a grain of truth certainly, especially for the workers in the fringes like women, certain ethnic groups that are not traditionally working in certain sectors and industries, basically. Um, so workforce can be, especially in the sectors where unions are dominant, workforce might be basically be treated as a club of certain ethnicity and gender, and that's related to the first critique. But uh, besides this connection to the first critique, there is an economic model which is basically based on this idea. Um, the unions create unemployment, and that's called monopoly union model. There are signs this monopoly union model might be inaccurate at least, and I would talk on this science basically. Um, but the basic point is monopoly union is acting like a monopoly that is the only body that is selling labor power, um, and as a result, by adjusting amount of labor power it is selling, it can increase and decrease the wages. Of course, we assume that a union is changing the wage level by not decreasing the labor time it is selling in the at least model where basically unions create unemployment, but rather by changing the employment level. By the way, just a quick note: right to work is in United States a right-wing slogan, which basically means that I mean in certain states, uh, workers in a company can vote to accept unions as their main bargaining agent, and if more than 50% accept this, then workers in that company are represented by the union. Uh, but that is according to, and the union makes their own bargaining with the company. But that, according to the right wing viewpoint, is violating the right to work of the workers, because if I don't support the union, I should be basically determine the conditions in which I can right to work. I should negotiate. Whether I have that negotiating power as an especially unskilled worker is a question we should ask. But again, that's the view. Uh, and if unions are taking with 50% vote that my representation, then my rights are violated according to this. it will continue.